very tight. If you do touch the fish, it should be resilient. It shouldn't leave any indentation. You know, slime on certain fish is really good. Slime on other fish means that the fish maybe wasn't iced correctly, right? Because that's a natural protective that the fish will use, you know, to protect himself. It'll produce this slime on the outside. So it's different for different things, you know. You know, we look at a piece of swordfish, you know, we look at the size of the borderline, how thick the belly is. We say, you know, you say the thickness of the belly. The thicker the belly, usually the better the quality of the fish, right? Because that's a fish that's been eating well.
What about the bloodline? Bigger?
Bloodline small is better. You know, we look for it to be small and tight. You know, the bloodline is a natural. Basically, it's like you. If you don't eat for a couple of days, you start burning your own fat. If a fish doesn't eat for a couple of days, he burns the bloodline. So that's his metabolism or his, you know, his ability to eat whatever he's going to eat. You know. Also, it's important that, like, when you, if you're going to make the raw fish, you don't want to serve it ice cold, right? That's one of, you know, this, I'm sure so many people see the letter grades and stuff in all the restaurants here around New York. It's a crock of shit, because the reality of it is that the rest of the world predominantly eats food at either room temperature or room temperature, right? Or warm. And here in America, they either want us to serve food that's really cold or really hot. And that's where food has its least amount of flavor, right? If you take something that's really ice cold and you pour the world's greatest olive oil over it, what's going to happen to it? Right? You're going to lose 50–60% of the characteristics of what that olive oil has because it's too cold. And the same with it if it's too hot. If it's too hot, right, what happens to the olive oil? It breaks down immediately, right? Yeah, maybe you get the aromatics, but you're going to lose all the flavor.
Does the Board of Health let you do sous vide? Do they let you cook?
You could do sous vide here in New York. There's a lot of paperwork involved.
You can't cryo in it, right?
You can cryo back. There's a lot of paperwork involved. You have to keep very like strict records, very detailed, you know, about temperature.
Is that good for a protein like a lot of fish, or is it no better than?
You know, I'm a purist, and I mean I believe that, you know, you can go to Portugal and they've been cooking fish for 1,000 years the same way. You know, what do we need to change it for? You know, they've obviously mastered the art of doing it. There's a lot to be learned when you go there and you watch the way they do certain things. You know, the problem for me with sous vide is that on some items it's really good. You lose all the texture. And you know, if you want to eat baby food, sure. You know, but you know, most of us have pretty good teeth, and we like to get a little texture out of our food. You know. Sous vide is a technique where they take like, so you take a chicken breast, you put it in a bag, you put some butter in there, springtime, whatever else. You seal the bag, and then you put it into a machine that boils it at about 105, 110 degrees for a long period of time. All right. And the problem, the concern about that is that the danger zone is 45 degrees to 140 degrees. So you're in what they call the danger zone for food for a long period of time.
Meats, I think, some because then you can braise at the end.
So, yeah, I mean some meats are good, you know.
Yeah, fish is so.
Some meats are very good done in that.
It's just
Which fish has cheeks as opposed to like beef cheeks?
I mean, we use them, you know, there's a lot of fish that have good cheeks. You have, right now I have a guy cutting cheeks out of skate for me. They're delicious. They're awesome. Really, really sweet. No, I'm the only one that has it. There's obviously halibut cheeks. There's cod cheeks. There's actually even better than the cheek on like the cod. In Spain they call it the cacocha, which is what we would call the tongue, which is a piece of the neck. And in Spain they just quickly poach it in the olive oil, and it has this amazing gelatinous texture to it, you know.
What was that again called?
Cacocha. Oh,
Is that sometimes called collar?
no,
Something else.
collar is different, you know. I mean, there are some people who do things with collar. Collar is usually a little bit. It's not, for me, it's not the best part of the fish. I mean, I know a guy like Dave, you know, like Dave Burke made a, you know, kind of like a trademark. He does his swordfish collar. I wouldn't order it. That's only me. I don't know a whole lot about fish.
Oh, sure, no, we good.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're ready. So, but yeah, because a lot of times the collar is connected with the belly and the gills and the guts, and it kind of gets a little funky smell to it sometimes.
Is there a way with olive oil to bring bacalao back to life that it's worth without it? Or is that just?
I mean, I'll tell you, man, you want to make yourself a great piece of bacalao. Take the bacalao, soak it for 3 days, and then poach it in olive oil. Poach it at 105, 110 degrees till it's tender. And I guarantee you,
It's
man,
nice.
you're gonna be blown away. Put a couple sprigs of thyme in there, a little bit of bay leaf, and you're gonna be like, wow.
It's dry cod, usually.
Bacalao is salted cod.
How often do you change the water? I mean,
You should change it at least once a day for 3 days. And it depends on the size of the salt cod. You know, but I mean, there's a great item that if you poach that item in olive oil, it's awesome.
You finish it? I'm sorry.
No, you poach it in olive oil.
Wow.
It's actually great raw too. I mean, if you take the bacalao, let's say bacalao, and you soak it for 3 days, okay? And then you slice it like you would slice smoked salmon. You squeeze a little lemon on it, a little fresh pepper, and then you take like a good spicy olive oil. Excellent.
Do you have a good spot to get bacalao here?
It's right over there in Chelsea Market.
Yeah, there's people that sell it. You know, you go to Chelsea Market, you go to Italy, you go to, you know, unfortunately, most of the people only have it at Christmas time. I buy bacalao from old Portuguese guys, and they do a little bit different technique, and they're up in what's called the Gaspes, which is the northern part of Canada, up by like Hudson Bay, and it's like this ancient tradition. And what they do different than most of the bacalao you'll see in stores is they actually leave the bone in. And the benefit of that is that it keeps the fish much moister. And in the Gaspes, these guys, they produce all their own salt. They catch the fish. They do an ancient technique where they hang it and they dry it. It's all done naturally. But yeah, I mean, you know, in Portugal, they say a good Portuguese cook knows how to make bacalao 365 ways. One for each day of the year.
What are your thoughts on farmed salmon?
Right now, the issue is that the wild salmon is very expensive. I mean, that's what I use. My cost on Monday for wild salmon, whole and around, where you're going to yield 33% out of the fish after you fillet and clean it, was $19 a pound. That was my cost. And I buy $100,000 worth of fish a month. You know? So that was my cost. So that's where I also bought some farm salmon, which the Scottish salmon, and that was $5. Wow. Are they the same? Absolutely not. Did the wild fishermen make a big mistake where they didn't take the name salmon and patent it, they made a gigantic mistake. You know, like catfish. Like you can only call catfish cat, God bless you, in the United States. They produce a lot of catfish in Vietnam, and it's called Bassa, because the American catfish farmers were smart. They patented the name, kind of like champagne, same difference.
Awesome, sounds better.
Yes, sir. But yeah, I mean, so I think it's and the wild salmon fishery. There's a lot of problems. They could resolve the wild salmon fishery really, really, really easily. Get rid of all the dams, but then they got no water in California and Oregon. That's the problem.
Do you sear a lot of fish and then use like an olive oil as a sauce on seared
I
fish?
use
or
the olive
roast it?
oil. Yes, I finish it with the olive oil.
So do you saute in the pan and finish it in the
Yeah.
oven and take it out?
You know, I may grill it, I may bake it in the oven, and then, like, you know, like the olive oils that we're talking about today and that we're using, these predominantly aren't oils for cooking. These are predominantly olive oils that you're gonna use when you finish it. Drizzle it on a salad, you know, grill a piece of steak, you slice the steak, drizzle it on the steak.
How about the oil you cook with? Like, it really doesn't matter, or there are different qualities?
There's definitely different qualities. I mean, I don't think, you know, I think that if you're gonna cook with oil, you should go out and you should find yourself an olive oil that you like, that it's not gonna cost you $10 a liter, that is of excellent quality, but is at a more reasonable price, and then you use that for the cooking. And then you use your $10 a liter oil for the finishing. You know, it's an important concept.
Which fish would stand up best poached in olive oil?
I mean, you could poach a variety of things. You know, you could do escobar, you could do cobia, you could do salmon, you could do tuna. You know, you want something that's going to have a little bit of texture so it doesn't fall apart. Tuna's excellent poached in olive oil.
White
Yeah, you could do red, you could do white. It doesn't matter. You know, gets this great white color on the outside. When you cut it open, it's bright red in the center. You know, it's a little bit more dramatic.
Chef, I read an article a couple years ago that tilapia is like the most worthless fish that there is. Is that?
It's like your shoe.
Is it? He says it's like your shoe.
How many things do you want to eat that come from the Republic of the Congo?
Not their tilapia.
Exactly.
Is that what
You
it
know, the problem with fish is like people come to my restaurant and they say, you know, it's expensive. Go to the store and buy a quality piece of fish. And most people don't necessarily have that kind of budget. So tilapia is a great substitute for the person who doesn't, you know, if they have a family of 4 to go out and buy fish for 4 people, good fish is going to cost, you know, $30, $40 at least here in New York. You know, go buy tilapia for a family of 4 and you could probably buy it for $10.
This article said that all the benefit, the health benefits that fish possess, that tilapia pretty much had none of those.
The next one you're going to see is, it's called, it's a fish that comes from the Amazon, and it grows really, really, really fast. What's that?
Piranha?
So I had a friend of mine who was like the kingpin of tuna in the world. I mean, nobody sold more tuna than him anywhere in the world. And he kind of went AWOL, went off the edge. He was living with his girlfriend and his ex-wife at the same time. So he moved to Brazil, and they're farming a variation of pacu that he said he'll be able to feed the hungry of the world, where basically they can raise his fish from the day it's born to bring it to market in 6 months. Wow. Which is pretty amazing. You know, tilapia is very similar. You know, it's cheap, it's inexpensive, good if you're on a budget, kind of hard to screw it up when you cook it. You know?
What's up with this fish you see almost everywhere the last few weeks? I eat fish like 7 days a week. It's the scorpion fish.
Yeah, scorpion fish is,
What is that?
it's a red fish. The real scorpion fish is what the French call rascasse, which is a very, very important fish in the Mediterranean culture because they make bouillabaisse out of it, they make zuppa de pêche, they make frito misto,